So, preview. Graph's quadratic, okay. Tell the vertex, the axis of symmetry. If it's a min or a max, holy cow, the domain and the range. Okay. We mentioned yesterday that with having the notes available, I've got worked out examples of everything ready to go. So luckily, we get to start with the easy stuff. What's the easy stuff, Hardy? Vertex form. So, what we got rolling is we are going to take the vertex straight from the expression. The only thing you've got to remember is you're doing the opposite of what's in the parentheses, and you're keeping what's on the outside. Because that is going to get us our first point. So tell the vertex, got it. Axis of symmetry is just the x value of your vertex. So if I've got one, I've got them both, but you got to put the x equals. If you just put -1, you're going to get dinged because it's a line. So what do I do with the rest of this stuff? Well, I think we're at a point. I left you a chart there if you want to draw the points as you go, but if you want to take them right off the calculator, I am not going to be opposed to that. So x plus 1 squared plus 2. And if I did my vertex right, when I get -1 in the middle, I should see 2, and I do. And I should see symmetry, which I do. So let me start looking for the points around here. I'm literally letting the calculator do all my work. To get that in there. I can also draw my axis of symmetry down the middle. So far, the only thing we've really had to do is know vertex form enough to get that. Is it a min or a max? Again, if we're opening up, it's going to be a min. If we're opening down, it's going to be a max, so it's opening up. That's a min. Love this. And then domain and range. Remember, domain is the free square. Every single, like you could go to number 2, 3, and 4 right now, not look at the graph and tell me the domain on all. Okay? That's the freebie points. Range, not quite a freebie. Close, but not completely. So here, I notice it goes up forever, so I got that. But here's my bottom. What's that? 1, 2. Okay? Straightforward as that. Most of the problems, except for your vertex, that's what you're going to be doing. We're not doing anything real complex. So, now number 2, I don't know. Number 2, you may not even recognize this. That's actually in vertex form too. You're like, what? I don't see any parentheses. Let me rewrite this. Okay? If you don't see a literal x term in the middle, if you just have x squared in a number, it's just kind of messing with you because the value inside the parentheses is 0. So you might want to rewrite it that way. Just saying. Because then I got 0. There's real no opposite of 0. That's kind of silly. In 3. So I've got my 0, 3. And now we're going right back, once I get my axis of symmetry, right back to the calculator to help us with the rest. So if I did this right, let's get 0 in the middle. Thank you. There's 0, 3. And I'm literally just going to copy the rest from the values that I get from my chart. As many will fit on your graph, that's how many we want. I knew it should open down because it had a negative a value. So I look, we're opening down. That's a max. Free square. And one warning for my range. Down forever first, because it's always bottom to top. There's my top. Does the order matter, Hardy? What if I put 3 to negative infinity? You'll get dinged a little, because that's going from top to bottom instead of bottom to top. But otherwise, that would work out okay. And so, as we're doing these, I think for the next pair, I'm only going to do number 3. Because I do want to leave you some, even though I think some of you have practice to do still, more than likely. But we'll have you in pretty good shape here. Okay, what if we get to standard form? What if there's no parentheses anymore? Let's see. Are we going to get help here? So quick guidance coming for standard form. I don't think I'm going to fit all this in, but we can do it for a second. Okay, when we're in standard form, page 1 of your notes, to find the x value of the vertex and the axis of symmetry, 2 for 1, we use the formula x equals negative b, or the opposite of b over 2a. So, okay, let's do that. So here, got a, b, c. So the x value is the opposite of b, negative 6, over 2a. Uh-oh. I'm thinking we're going into decimal world. Uh-oh. Negative 1.5. Okay. Here's a new experience for us. So you're like, wait. Like, that's a real thing? Like, negative 1.5 might be on there? Well, I think we just ran into it, so I think it is. So what happens if we run into that situation? Well, let's see. Hardy. I just pulled my chart. There's no fractions anywhere. So what do I do? Okay, I still need the y value of my vertex. I can use these other points still. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit the trace button. When you hit the trace button, once it graphs the graph for you, you can type in any number you want for x. Okay? So here, all we did was hit trace and then type in the x value. And when I hit enter, it will tell me what the y value is there. So that's how I'm going to have to go my vertex here if I don't get something nice from the calculator. So that can happen sometimes. But once I do that, so negative 1.5, that gets me right around in here. So if I do negative 1, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 3, positive 2. Okay, talk to me. How am I getting all these other points? Okay, so what I know is, and if I could draw it, I would. I figured out my vertex, and I got a decimal. So I'm used to the chart, like, literally showing me the symmetry. But this time, since it has a decimal, I can kind of look. Let me pull this up for a second, just a second. Let's play with colors here. So if I look right here, and I look above it, I see negative 2, 2, 10, negative 2, 2, 10. I still see symmetry. I just don't see that vertex in the middle. So once I have this and I plot it, I'm still going to plot all these other points. I'm going to plot negative 2, negative 2. Ooh, man, that's touchy. I'm not even touching these, doing it. So right here, and I'm going to plot 1, negative 2. And we're going to plot 0, 2. And we're going to plot negative 3, 2, And then we can just connect the dots. The only weird thing is the vertex itself. Everything else, as long as of course it disappears. As long as I can fit it on my graph, I'm still going to go ahead and connect those points. Now, am I going to be obnoxious and put a fractional thing on the quiz tomorrow? Probably not. You can play this back for me if you need to and say, Hardy, you said you weren't gonna. Now I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. I kind of messed that up. Okay, but it is nice to see it once because it won't happen that way every time. And now you're probably going to get me to do number 4 this way. So, good question. So here's an easy peasy point. The y-intercept says 0. It's only what happens when the x value is 0. So I just go to my chart, 0, 2. X-intercept y would be 0. But yeah, if we've got y-intercept, we just got to look where x equals 0. The chart will tell you literally every time on that one. Domain's still the free square. And my range is my vertex y value, because that's the bottom here, to the top. These are always related. Wherever your vertex is, that's where your range is going to be beginning or ending. Oh, I got to get my little sketches out of the way. That's not helpful once we move. Oh. But again, that was a weird one. Let's do one normal. That'll make us probably feel better. A normal to feel better. A is 1. B is -8. C is 5. So we got the opposite of -8 over 2 times 1. So let's see. 8 over 2 is 4. That's better. We like that better. Type it on in. And we want 4 in the middle. Because once we get the 4, we finish off our vertex. And then we can start plotting these other points. So 3, -10, 5, -10, 6, -7, 2, -7. I mean, I could keep going. I mean, I still got points that fit. 1, -2, 7, -2, but you want at least 5. Axis of symmetry, just the x value of my vertex. We figured it out there. My vertex is at the bottom. So we got them in. My y-intercept comes straight from the calculator. 0, 5. Domain is the free square. And that y value of my vertex always goes with my range. The y value of my, I got it from the chart as I was going. Right there. -11, yeah. Yep, -11. So it was the same. It was one step different, but whether it was vertex or standard form, there wasn't a whole lot of difference once we got the x value of the vertex. Nothing too bad. Okay, move that out of the way. Applications. Let's go. A ball is dropped from the top of a building. The distance in meters above the ground of the ball after t seconds can be modeled by the equation. There's the equation. How long will it take for the ball to hit the ground? Okay, let me get my help sheet out here. Hit the ground. 0. X-intercept. So I get my handy-dandy help sheet out. I type this into y equals, well, with x instead of t. Except I wrote 98. That's not going to be helpful. That's better. So I hit graph, and I'm like, all right. Again, we got to use some common sense. There's the positive side. That's the value we need. So we're not looking for the vertex. We're looking for the 0. Do I need to use zoom fit? I don't think I do this time. I can see it right there. So second trace number 2. You're like, Hardy, where's my cursor? There's no cursor anywhere. So when there's no cursor, here's what you got to think about. If I look over here, I can see my intercept is over here around 2. Check out where x is right now. It's at 0. So if I start hitting the right arrow, as that x value gets close to 2, I bet you the cursor shows up. It's amazing. It's a miracle. So once we're close to our 0, our intercept, that's what step 3 is. We're going to use the left arrow, because it says left there as well. Left arrow, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Enter. But my cursor disappeared. It's okay. There's my little boundary line. Right. 1, 2, 3. Back where I started. 4, 5, 6. Enter. My boundaries are now set. Those little arrows are there. I hit enter one last time. And again, time is x. Whatever it says the x is going to be how long it takes. How high was the building you dropped the ball from? Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Drop the ball. That'd be my starting height. That's h sub o. That's the number on the end. Number on the end. There it is. 45 meters. No calculating. Keep life simple. Do not worry about this y-intercept thing. I'm not going down that road. I might throw it on the regular questions, but I'm not throwing it in there. All right, another equation. Maximum, oh, there it is. Height of feet is your y value. Seconds, ooh, is your x value. I mean x value. I know what I mean. I got to type in the equation. And I can look at the graph first. Let's do that. Okay. The max is up here somewhere. Well, I can't see it, Hardy. Okay. Zoom 0 should help us see where that max is. There it goes. Okay, I can see it now. It's up there. Second trace. Number 4. Left and right arrows only, as close to the tippy top as we can get. Once I get up there, it says right there left. I'm going to go left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Hit enter. I can still see my little cursor there. Right bound, right arrow. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Enter. Both my boundaries are set. And you're like, okay, so what's this say? It says my x is 1, so it took 1 second, and my y is 21 for it to get to its max height of 21 feet. Everything again worked out for you here as long as you can play with the calculator a little bit. Now, as I said at the start, I forgot to put the intercept form onto the quiz preview. So I want to do a couple of these just to make sure that we're good. Just a quick reminder. Let me get to the, there we go. Sure, why not? Intercept form is right here on page 2 of our notes. So what we're going to do intercept form. Holy guacamole. I wonder if YouTube can hear all the gibbering in here and just wonder why and how I do this. I asked myself the same question. Okay, I want to find my x-intercepts. So to do that, I'm going to set each of my sets of parentheses here equal to 0. Because those two values that I find are going to be 2 of the 3 points that I need to make my graph. Okay, so I've got my 2 intercepts. To get my last point, I need to find my vertex. Okay, so how do I do that? I'm going to take the 2 answers I just got. So we'll just kind of make a note here. So we're going to do 4 plus 10 and divide by 2. That's going to get me the x value of my vertex. You probably know what we're going to do at this point. If we type it in here, even though I could do this mathematically as well, I can do second graph, and I should, if I get to x equals 7, see my y value and see symmetry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once you have those 3 points, you can get everything that you need. So a little different way of going at it, but nothing different. Again, if you practice, that would not be out of the realm of possibility. So let's play with one more, then I'll let you decide if you want me to keep playing with anything, if you got questions, or if we're good to go at that point. So let's say we do number 2, might as well. Same thing again. We're going to take each set of parentheses. We're going to set them equal to 0. Solve the little mini equations. Again, those aren't lines like your axis of symmetry is. They're points. So they land. Those first 2 points you graph are always going to be on the x-axis because they're x-intercepts. To find the middle, we add them up and divide by 2. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Divided by 2 is 0. So we've got one part of our vertex. Get 0 in the middle here and hope we see some symmetry. If I see the same numbers above and below, I'm a happy camper. get my graph. I get my axis of symmetry. Happy, happy, hearty. So again, if you need any of the following, and I would probably, if you haven't done your other homework, I'd do a couple of these just to kind of see if it's going okay. But if you haven't done, let me switch over here quick. Over on the mainstream, okay, here come the notes. If you want to see the videos, if you just click here, the videos will all be up, and we can kind of see how things are going as well. We'll get this video onto Wednesday, and you should be in pretty darn good shape because this quiz is not incredibly long by any means tomorrow. Definitely can get it into the class period. So if you run into questions,